Hey everyone, well we're in Cardiff, Wales right now. I'm right here with my first cousin, Andy Christofides.
That's me.
The very Reverend Andy Christofides.
Very reverend.
This is his church here, his beautiful old church, it's centuries old, called St Mellons, which is an area in Cardiff, and it's a Baptist church.
It's a Baptist church.
And
yeah.
you've been the pastor here for
10 years in September.
10 years. So we're first cousins, you can tell.
We look very similar.
By our very good looks. We're both half English, half Greek. So my mother, his father, brother and sister. And so we've had very little to do with each other actually over the years. But I've got a story that I want to tell you. So 34 years ago, 1976, when Andy, so we're roughly the same age. Andy came, you were a teenager, you were in university. Did you finish university?
No, I just finished my first year in Cardiff University doing chemistry. I came out for 3 months holiday. I hadn't seen you or your brother or
Since
your
we
mum
were kids.
since you emigrated, really.
Yeah.
So we had 3 months there, staying with Grandma on the Gold Coast, and then interacting with you in Brisbane.
In Brisbane. So you came and stayed with us for a couple of weeks. And what I can remember about you were a uni student, you were scientific, were you an atheist? To me, you seem like you're pretty much an atheist.
Yeah, I decided that wasn't a God. The answers really were in science. Big Bang and evolution had all the answers.
Yeah.
No room for God, no need for God.
Right.
No real thought about him.
And so, and I had been a Christian about 2 years.
I think so. There were stories that...
So not long, but I had a great conversion. And I just remember weeks and weeks of arguing and debating and talking about, God and Jesus and Christianity and evolution and science. And you remember all that?
I do. I mean, your arguments were not particularly good, but what struck me was this dramatic change in your life and your brother and your auntie. You'd encountered this person, Christ, and clearly there was a profound change that I couldn't explain. So despite my arguments, I was thinking. It might have seemed that outwardly I wasn't interested, but definitely. I bought a Bible secretly. I didn't think I told you that, but down the Gold Coast bought a Bible.
You did?
Started to read it.
Now all I can remember is you were like tough. You had a wall as thick as brick around you. I just felt, actually I thought it was a pretty hopeless cause. And but right at the end, something happened. Right at the end, something happened, which was quite dramatic. And it was like the second last day before you were about to come back to England.
It's a bit before that. I think it was about 2 weeks before.
Oh, was it?
Because after I was converted, we had a camp somewhere out in the hills that we went on.
Oh, right. Okay.
Then I was baptised shortly afterwards as well.
You were. So tell us what happened, though, on the night you came to church.
Well, I'd been to your church a couple of times, and I found it quite a strange place to go. I mean, it was bizarre.
Right.
I mean, I respected you and your brother. I'd met the pastor, but it's quite a wacky place. To my understanding, I think people doing the conga and praying in tongues. It's just bizarre. So I didn't want to go back particularly, but I was intrigued by yourself and your testimony. And we're out playing American rules football, me, you and Mark, at some field somewhere, Sunday afternoon. And you said, right, it's time for church.
Right.
And I said, well, I don't want to go. Take me home. I was told it was too far. I had to come with you. I said, no, take me home. No, you
So
want to go home? Walk home. So I had to come. But I thought, now look, I'm a scientist. I've seen a lot and heard a lot. And I tried an experiment. And I was sort of saying to God, well, if you're there, obviously it's important. And I prayed before I went in, God, if you are there, I want to know. So it's like trying an experiment. That's what scientists do.
So all this was going on inside, because you certainly didn't let let me know that.
Privately, in the entrance to the church, I almost picture it, I prayed that if it was real, I would know. It was in that service.
And I remember at the end of the service, there was an altar call given for people who wanted to accept God. And I just remember you just walked out. To my utter shock, you walked out. A couple of days later, we went down the Gold Coast and we baptised you in the Pacific Ocean, because you had to come back.
That's right, there wasn't a baptismal service.
No baptismal service. So we baptised them in the Pacific Ocean on the Gold Coast. But here's the amazing thing. So here we were both teenagers, I think, maybe.
I was 19.
19. And, we had both come from very ungodly backgrounds. I was, not a Christian, but saved at 16. Found Christ at 16, had a dramatic conversion, and had, known the Lord for a couple of years. But here, other two opposite sides of the world. And somehow, sovereignly, the Spirit of God called the both of us.
Yeah.
Because at that time I wasn't a pastor, but God called me.
Mm-hmm.
And then you came back home. You got born again there in Brisbane. You came back here, and I really didn't hear much of you for years after that. But the call of God was on your life.
That's right.
And you became a pastor now.
I felt from my conversion in Brisbane that there's a call to some full-time work.
Yeah.
It actually worked out eventually when I was 30. Went to work for a church in Cardiff, student worker, youth worker, church evangelist. I've been here as pastor for 10 years.
Well, I find it incredible that your life was changed so much, because to me you were the least likely person that I thought would become a Christian by the way that you were. So I tell you what, there's hope for anybody. Never give up.
Amen.
On anybody you're talking to, because you never know what's going on inside. And it's a sovereign God thing, isn't it?
That's
really,
right.
God was at work.
That's right.
And He called the both of us. 30 something years later, we're both ministers. We've been serving God all of that. And He's a granddad now. So he's old.
He's a granddad too.
Losing his hair. But look, it's been fantastic just to catch up with you again all these years later, and just to see how God is using you here in Wales and running this fantastic church. We were just in church this morning. It was a great service, and Andy is here with his family. Does a great work. So.
And great to catch up with you and hear of all the work in Brisbane and all the friends there and what's happening in Uganda and the documentaries. In 34 years' time, we must meet again.
We must. We'll be
Old.
80.
Yeah, hold on.
82.
I'll be 82.
82. We'll be 83.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll be old.
All right. It's a date.
But we'll do it.
It's a date.